All right, new video today. This one is about parts, specifically about transmission crossmembers. Just finished the design of the trans crossmember for the 6R80 and 10R80 transmissions to go into Gen 2 Broncos and late F-150 like 78, 79 F-150s. This is a crossmember kit that we're going to sell on the website. It matches up with our engine mounts. So if you buy our engine mounts, you buy this crossmember, all of it is pretty much direct, straight bolt in. You don't have to do any work to get your engine and trans mounted in your chassis. This video will kind of go into a little bit of how it fits and what the clearance conditions are, so you can see how it'll all work and hopefully answer any questions you might have. But let's spin the camera around. We'll go jump over to the frame and we'll take a look at how all this comes together. All right, so we're looking at a 79 Bronco frame. So this kit is designed for Gen 2 Broncos and the late F-150 that shares the frame and front suspension setup. This is a Godzilla sitting on our mount kit. This is the same one we've been using for a long time. And then behind it is a 10R80 transmission. Now this is pretty much our go-to solution for automatic builds. This kit with the Ford Performance controller is really nice. You get engine and trans control all in one computer, one single wiring harness that plugs it all in. And I got to tell you, they drive really nice. The calibration for both the engine and the trans is really good. So we've pretty much honed in. This is all we're using for Godzilla automatic builds and the Broncos because it really fits well, drives well, kind of checks all the boxes. Now behind that 10R80, what you see here is the NP205, so that's like the stock T-case, with our adapter joining the two. So that's an Atlas adapter that's modified with a bunch of clearance cuts and changes to get the 205 to slide right onto it. So that's sort of the fundamentals of our setup. And then what we get into is how to do the crossmember. So the factory one's a big stamp steel unit. It's really strong, but it's a pain in the butt. If you try to get it out with the trans in the truck and the body on, it's really hard. So we wanted to get away from that, so we went to a modular setup. So this is a three-piece design. There's two large side plates, and they grab the top of the frame rail and go down and pick up the radius arm mounts, just like the stock one would. And then the cross beam is a separate unit. And that cross beam now has a pedestal, which is going to mount this whole assembly. So I'm going to actually zoom in under here and try to get a view of that. You can see it right there. So that's a urethane mount, and it's actually not on the trans, it's on the adapter. So two big bolts hold it to the bottom of the adapter. It's got a nice big flat pad, and then two bolts hold it down into the crossmember there. So pretty simple assembly. Basically, you put your two side plates on, then you get your cross beam on. You can thread your bolts up into the mount and to the adapter. And I generally tell folks leave everything a little bit loose until you've got it all started, and then you can snug everything up. So engine mounts, tranny crossmember, and mount, all of it comes together as a nice kit so that this thing will drop right in your frame rail with no welding, no cutting. It's all bolt-on parts. Now a common question we get is, what about drive shafts? And there's a good visual indicator here. So that triangle you see right there is the factory side mount for the 205. And this one, in its current location, is about 2.5 inches farther forward than the original spot. Now, conveniently, the frame has some holes already punched in it. You can see this one, and that slot that was used in the first setup. We use those. So we put the frame side mount on and the TK side mount, and then we slot the holes, and then you can put the disc. It's kind of like a rubber puck that goes between them, and that all works without really having to do any welding or major drilling on the frame or tear-ups. So that means, you got your mount in, you are 2.5 inches forward, so plan on new drive shafts. The rear drive shaft isn't long enough. You'd pull out from your slip joint a lot. The front's too long, so you could shorten it down. But yeah, you'll need new drive shafts with this setup. And then the last thing is the shifter mount. So depending on what you're running, a 6R80 or a 10R80, we have different mount solutions for your TK shifter. If you remember, the original shifter mount is a boss on the side of the trans. That's gone. So we make a CNC block that goes right here, mounts the shifter, and puts it back so it's centered in the stock hole in the floor, and you don't have to have the thing sitting way forward and then it wouldn't shift and changes like that. So we've moved the thing back, we've given you some adjustability with a Heim joint linkage, and it all comes together pretty nicely. So I think that pretty much covers it. If you have specific questions, drop them in the comments and I'll answer them as best I can. Go on our website, wellsorted.com. There's an online store where all these parts are for sale, and there's more pictures and info about them there, so if you want to dive into some of the details. And feel free to poke us with an email if there's anything specific we haven't covered. But yeah, these are available, ready for you guys that are doing Godzilla builds in these late Broncos and the the late F-150s. It's all pretty nice stuff, makes your install easy, no welding, all bolt-in design. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your support. Look for more videos like this on the channel where we're going to do some of the details behind the hardware and the installs and how these things all go together. So stay tuned, hit like and subscribe if you want to get notified every time a new video comes out. Thanks and see you soon.